If we talk about fiscal year 2022-23, this will be third year in succession when we will have some impact of pandemic, some or a larger impact of pandemic. So the budget will of course need to address the issue, need to address the challenges posed by pandemic. And what is pandemic doing? Pandemic is affecting the entire economic activity in one way or other way. We have seen in fiscal year 2021, when we had a nationwide lockdown, the entire economic activities were completely stopped. In the fiscal year 21-22, we had localized lockdown, which also resulted in disruptions of supply. And now we are having third wave, which is also known as Omicron variant. And we don't know what is the future holding for us in fiscal year 22-23. But still, we need to prepare for that. And if I can quote what Chief Economic Advisor, then Chief Economic Advisor, Mr. K.V. Subramanian used to say, in the first wave, we had unknown versus unknown because we were not knowing what is going to happen and we were having economic strategy based on something which were not known. In the fiscal year 21-22, we were having known thing, but we were also facing some kind of unknown variant. Now the situation is again the same what we experienced during 21-22. So challenges are immense. So amidst this challenge, one of the big challenge is how to curb fiscal deficit. So as of now, the fiscal deficit for the fiscal year 22, it is 6.8%. And we are expecting that for fiscal year 23, it could be 6% or 6.3%. We need to control this fiscal deficit because what is the problem? The problem is that when you have a higher fiscal deficit, that means you are going for higher borrowing. Higher borrowing means that you have to allocate more and more resources to service the debt and repay the principal as well as to pay the interest. So that means a good portion of your total resources is going to be for debt servicing and for the interest payment. If I take the example of fiscal year 21-22, 20% of total resources were allocated for the interest payment. So you can imagine the situation there. And when we are talking about the government need to spend more, from where it will get? The other option is that it will go for another round of borrowing. That means you are going to borrow again and again and again and again. The second thing is what is going to happen with the fiscal consolidation. Fiscal expenditure is not about the compression of expenditure or cutting down the expenditure. It is about the reprioritizing the expenditure. In economics, we say we have limited resources and you have to go for the optimal utilization. So that optimal utilization will be possible only if you are having a better allocation of resources or reprioritization of resources. So at this moment, the challenge is how to reprioritize and which are the ministries, which are the departments, which are the schemes which should be given priority. So that is the challenge number 2. The third challenge is to give more and more money in the hands of people. You need to provide some sort of extra money in the hands of people so that they can fight the inflation. But at the same time, the government is having a problem that if it lowers a tax rate, the revenue will be affected, resources will be affected. To how to do that? So health is of course on the priority area, and among in the health sector itself, I believe the capital one or the health infrastructure should be given higher priority, and which I'm sure that government will give that. When we spend more on building infrastructure on the railway or the road, that gives not just the direct employment but also the indirect employment. That is the one advantage. The second advantage is that there are a number of allied activities which get boosted because of the higher expenditure on railway and road. When you spend some money on, say, building road, it is going to benefit at least 400 kind of activities directly or indirectly. So that is the kind of benefit which an infrastructure project can give, especially in the road sector. Not just the railway, but also the road should get more and more allocation. And this year we have seen good progress in terms of road building, in terms of road infrastructure. So I'm sure and I'm hopeful that government will provide more money, more resources for the road and also for the railway, because railway is at a very critical juncture. Now they are going for a full electrification and they are now going for modernization, redeveloping stations and the freight corridor and everything. Critical area is the education. If you can remember, the new education policy prescribed, spending at least 6% of GDP on education. At this moment, it is very low. If we take the figures, this pandemic has also created an environment where we are seeing more and more digital divide. So we need to work on that, how to make education accessible to all the section of society, not just who are having mobile phone or tablet or laptop. We need to work on that. We need to provide some kind of facility. We need to provide additional resources so that the digital divide could be curtailed. So I think education should be in priority, at least for this year.